there, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today I've got Henri Nouwen for you again. It's written by Charles Ringma, one of his biographers. And this little passage that I have for you, because I normally use other books by Nouwen, but this one is called Hear the Heartbeat with Henri Nouwen. And this one is on page 90. No, it's not. This one is on page 51, and it's just a few words here about words. He says, words so fragile, words so easily disregarded or diminished, are the way God chooses to engage us. And in case we're inclined to think that mere words amount to little, God has embodied that word in Jesus Christ. Christ becomes visible and substantial word, a word, capital W, that spells deed, a word that is active, a word that can make one whole. Henri Nouwen reminds us that we read the word so that the word can become flesh and have a whole new life in us. Indeed, this is no mere word. It is a life-giving and life-transforming word, a word that lives in us through the Spirit, reorienting us to new ways of being, ways that have to do with forgiveness, peacemaking, reconciliation, and healing. Yeah, words are, some people say, I'm not a word person. What can I say? I don't read, or I'm not a word person. I like TV or film or activities outside, skiing, hockey. I like outdoor activities more. I like to be more active than dealing with words. Okay, that's fine. Not everybody is a word person, but words are not just some little thing. They are symbols of reality. And so the words that we use are extremely important. The words that we use, we want to make sure to choose the right words and to really, that really express our meaning and live those words out. Like the way he talked about this here, saying that a word that spells deed, a word that is active, a word that can make one whole. I tell you, I grew up on the Bible, like not maybe as a child, but when I turned 17 and I started really reading the Bible, that word became like bread, crusty, delicious, warm, just baked, fresh bread that fed me and nourished my soul. And I just read that word. I read it again and again and again, and I continue to read it. I still read it to this day because it nourishes my soul. Now that is different, than just the words that we use to converse, but there are some similarities. And the word made flesh inside of us, the word capital W, is living and active too. And I like the way he said this. We read the word so that the word, capital W, can become flesh and have a whole new life in us. Life-giving, life-affirming, life-transforming, a word that is life-transforming. Have you ever had a word that is life-transforming to you, where you hold on to it and you just, you live on it, you munch on it, you feast on it daily, something that you go back to again and again? I do. I have certain scriptures like that, and certain words that were spoken over me and given to me. When you hear a word that comes forth from God, when I hear a word, when we hear a word spoken aloud or just read, and it comes zing right here, you know it. You know it's different than just reading some words on a page. Has that ever happened to you? You know what? If it hasn't, let me just encourage you with one thing. If you're going to read the Bible and ask God to show you a word, to teach you his word, to give you a word, ask him by the power of the Holy Spirit to give this to you as you open it up. He is willing and ready to do that by his Holy Spirit. I mean, sometimes those words come to us and they really grab us and they are transforming. Even if it does seem random, we just open up the Bible or even another book, like one of these books that I read to you, and it has this impact. But if you have had that impact before, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I hope that you do, because the word is truly living and active. That's where our deeds come from. You know, it's funny, you've got like Christians on both sides for generations, for not eons, but for centuries, who some, some denominations and groups of Christian people just emphasize the deeds. Faith without works is dead. You don't even have a faith if you don't exercise that faith. And then and do the deeds of kindness and love and goodness and justice and mercy. And other, denominations and groups of Christians say, no, it's all just about God's grace, and it's solidly, it's through faith and the grace of God. That's it. You don't need deeds. And like, why should those two things be separated? I think what Charles Rigma is saying to us through Henri Nouwen this week with this little passage is that those deeds come out of the living and active, transforming, life transforming word. Something happened this week, gave me great joy, and maybe it can be instructive in this. I don't see myself as a particularly deeply sensitive person, or working hard, honestly, just to be honest, at ever trying to do good deeds. But I do notice that sometimes good deeds come out of me, and I like, if I stop and think about it, where did that come from? I wasn't thinking about doing that. Where did that come from? It just was propelled to do it. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, is like there's a life-giving spirit that comes, the word that comes in us and through us as we let it come through us. It was just a simple thing. I was in the grocery line, and there was a man in front of me who was getting a little bit impatient with the elderly woman in front of him, who was counting out pennies and nickels and dimes for her. I don't know what she had. She probably had about $5 worth of goods there. And she had a couple dollar bills, and she had a couple quarters. And there was a man behind me too. And okay, it's okay. I wasn't in a rush, and I was just watching this. And she kept going with looking for, even though the cashier counted it up, whatever the cashier said to her, she needed to be looking for more. And she's looking for me. She's putting one nickel and one penny out at a time. I mean, it just grieved me so much. I just thought, I don't want her to be embarrassed. I just took out $5, and I said to the man in front of me, could you give this to the cashier, please? You quietly, but you don't want anybody to be embarrassed about that. Didn't think anything of it. I'm not like, oh, I'm such a good person. It was $5, and trying to save her some embarrassment. But she turned around, and she was like, with her white frizzy hair, she might have been in her 90s. She looked at me and she gave this expression, oh, you don't have to do that. I said, don't worry about that. She goes back to her business, and the man behind me, he taps me on the back shoulder, and he said, that was very nice of you. And I just said, oh, well, she seemed to be like just maybe needing a little bit of help there. And he goes, not many people would have done that. And he starts this whole conversation with me. He was pretty loud too about this little $5 bill. I didn't know what to say. It wasn't something that I planned to do, or I thought that I need to do a good deed. Just what good deed could I do today? No, it was like, it flew out of me, That's the life-giving word. That's the life-giving, transforming word that comes through us if we let it. I'm ashamed to say I don't think I let it as much as I should let it. But I am what I am. I do what I do. But that gave me joy. I went to the car and I thought, somehow that woman got out of her embarrassing situation quickly, got the milk and whatever else she had there that she was trying to get. And I don't know what, if anything, it did to the men on either side of me. They both mentioned it like, you made my day, and this and that. And I don't know. I pray for them. That's what I do. I I pray that whatever light that might shine through any time, if any, would just bring deeper faith and a sense of hope and joy to the people around me. Why don't you share with me one of the situations that has happened to you like that, or something where you find the joy with a deed or a good work just kind of popping out at you? I love that kind of stuff. I really do, because it's not religious. It's not like we're trying really hard to please God or strive to do the good things. It's just like letting God be God and letting his word just flow through. I'm hoping that by the day I die, whenever he calls me home, that just becomes more and more alive in me. There's so much joy there. There's so much joy there. I hope that you're having a great day and you're going to have an even better week, and that you leave a comment or a question. I'd love to chat with you. Take care, my friend.